not only about academic. It's not. So go back to what I said earlier, the values. All those 5 values is part of that journey of building who they are. So academics is only one part of it, okay? But don't get me wrong, academics do open many doors, okay? So if you want your son or daughter to aspire to become a doctor, to become a lawyer, accountants, actuaries, all these kind of different doors, it does require certain elements of academic profile. And we are here and to really help them to become, or to really open those kind of different doors, okay? So this is the journey that we help every single student to become. So the science is vitally important, the education you may have think of, university, for some of you may seem so far off of your horizon, but trust me, you need to start planning now. Okay, you need to start thinking, not necessarily planning, okay, let me rewind, not necessarily planning, but you need to start thinking, where do I want to be in 5 years' time, in 2 years' time, in 3 years' time? You need to think what subject you require, what acquisition you needed before you need to reach your ultimate goal. If you want to become astronomer, therefore you need to study your physics. If you want to become actuaries, you need to study your economics and maths. If you want to become a lawyer, you need to study your English, you need to study certain subjects. So once again, it's having that mindset, having that open mindset to reach where you want to be, okay? So all these are all part of that academic journey. So what do we actually mean in academic culture? What do we upheld? Now, the 2 key kind of principles I'm work on. Firstly, is about the shared values and responsibility. The values that we upheld, the 5 different values that we share with parents, we share with students, we work together, that's our shared values. Shared responsibility is not only school's responsibility to make the academic journey, but also is students' responsibility to wanting to be successful. It's also parents' responsibility to help your child, help your son and daughter to be successful along that journey. Once again, to go back to that triangulation, it's part of that responsibility and the mindset that shapes the learning. Now, as we human body, everything operates from our brain. So therefore, having the correct mindset is vitally important in what we do, how we think, how we respond. So therefore, we need to which I'm going to talk about later on, the growth mindset of how that can be done. So to help the vision and values, we have few key pillars of part of students needs to become. Students need to become curious, the curiosity, the thinking mind. They want to find out why, they want to find out more of their interest, they're curious about their thinking. Become resilient. Students need to build that soft skill of when they face challenge in their learning journey, they can stand against it and say, I'm going to have a go. It's hard, not going to be easy, but I'm having a go. I'm having a try. I'm having an explore, and I'm taking my time to try to understand. So that is what we're trying to help students, which is why I said earlier, this is the place to make mistakes, and not to be afraid of making mistakes, and not to be ashamed of making mistakes. I always say to my students, mistakes is good, provided you learn from it. Provided you learn from your mistakes and you can move on from it, is the best lesson they could have. Okay? And students need to learn to become collaborative, working with different people. Now, we are in a society that work and interact with different people. There's no such thing as working in isolation. Working in isolation gets you nowhere. You always need a team of people that you interact with, that you work with, so therefore that soft skill of working collaborative is vital. And that is the skill we want our students to have, and to become reflective. A reflective practitioner, i.e. reflective on their own learning journey, is important. The ways that how they learn, how they become more inquisitive of how they capture the knowledge. Okay? So therefore, I have 4 different mottos or mantras that I want to instill into students and parents and the school community. And I truly believe, firstly, every lesson counts. Every part of that lesson is valuable in the journey of learning. So therefore, I'm encouraging students to be on time, to be inquisitive, to be mindful, to be open-minded, to receive different knowledge and challenges. Second, challenge comes with support. It's no good just challenge students if it's too far for them to reach at that moment in time. However, with support along the way, they can reach to the challenge quicker. So that's that's my second belief. Challenge with support. Thirdly, the feedback fuels growth. I.e., what that means is every teacher's feedback and comment, it needs to be constructive for students to respond, for them to grow. So therefore, responsibility come in for the students in the ways that they need to be active, they need to responding to teachers' feedback, and that's how they become better of the subject they're studying. So therefore, that is my third kind of motto. The fourth, there's a phrase that we always say that practice makes perfect, but I don't want that. What I believe is perfection is actually very, very hard to find and very hard to achieve. What we want to celebrate is practice makes progress. Every single part of the progress, making improvement along the way, is a success. It's a success story in itself. So therefore, that is important, and I want students and yourself to fully grasp the power of making progress. It could well be a small baby step or a big leap. Either way is vitally important. It doesn't matter how big, how small the progress is, the progress is being made. The journey of where we started to where we need to be is slowly along the way, or we're running down the racetrack. Doesn't matter, because each student is unique, and we value that uniqueness in Wellington. No a single person is identical in this world, and we value that and we understand that. So therefore, the progress that we make with our students, we celebrate with them along the way until they get to that ultimate goal of each individual student's aspirational target. That could well be, as I said, to become a doctor, an engineer, a pilot. We don't care in that sense. Sorry, I didn't mean that. I mean that, what I say, we don't care in terms of that, we don't mind where they need to be. It's good to be aspirating. We just here to help them to achieve that goal. That's what I'm saying, and that is what we believe in. And therefore, we are putting the building blocks along the way to help them achieve that ultimate goal. So these are the 4 academic mantras we believe in our senior school in Wellington. Okay? So, this is all stemmed from one phrase, love of learning. Within love of learning, there are lots of different aspects I want to talk you through. some of the researches, some of the principles that we use in Wellington. Firstly, that you will know quite well with the hard knocks teaching. With the hard knocks teaching of the environment, it's about that dialogue teaching, it's about that conversation, it's about engaging brain, it's about thinking widely, all those kind of different aspects of hard knocks teaching. So that ensures that we stretch and challenge every single student through oral conversations, through different dialogues, and through having sometimes healthy arguments. Okay, healthy arguments is essential because you engage with your brain, you put your ideas forward and then bounce off with other people. So therefore, you really challenge the way you think and the way students think and solve problems. So that's what we encourage in our lessons, is that high quality outcomes. The ways that the journey might be very wavy along the way, doesn't matter. The outcome is that they are making progress, they're making learning along the way. Okay? So, oh, sorry, the words is quite small, you may not be able to see. Don't worry, I will be sharing the PowerPoint when we finished. So to underpin all these different kind of a dialogue teaching, we use Bloom's taxonomy, i.e. different levels of questioning in our lessons. Now, I'm sure this is not unfamiliar with you. The fact is that remembering and understanding is the interest level of that deeper understanding, of that embedding into long-term memory. Recalling facts is the interest level, okay, of that dialogue. Then we're starting to move on to applying and analyzing. Now, if you're able to, for example, I'm a mathematician, I can learn how to add numbers. However, if I cannot able to apply it to a situation, then that knowledge becomes redundant. Okay, so that is the principle. In essence, we need to be, or students need to get to a point of understanding the content and then take it and applying into a different context. Hence, that's why the exams become important, because examiners putting students into a context of thinking outside the box. That's what we're encouraging every student to do, thinking outside the box, applying the knowledge, take it, and then put it into different contexts. That's what we are. Then finally, we move on to the top of the pyramid, which is evaluating and creating. Evaluating is the fact that you're able to be reflective of your own practice or the student's practice and then make improvements. So it's only able to be self-reflective, they become self-improving. And ultimately, we want them to be creative or creative. Now, entrepreneurs, Job Stevens, they're all creators. They are all, Bill Gates, they are all creators. They got the knowledge, they learn how to program, for example, they learn how to program, but they apply it, they evaluate it, and they create. That's where they are. We want every single student coming through this door to be able to be creative in the field of their interest. We want to create a future mathematician, we want to create a future astronomers, we want to create future dentists. This is our goal. So therefore, along the way, the hard knocks teaching enables students to become that self-reflective, self-evaluating, and self-creative mind to adapt the knowledge into a new context. And this is what we call Bloom's taxonomy, i.e. different ways of thinking, from the interest thinking block all the way up to creativity. And this is what we use when we challenge students. We ask different type of questions, as you can see from the entries. When do you, or locate, or how many? This is just recording some facts. To the way of what would happen if. I get them to think widely. What if? The if questions. Can you see a solution to, or how many ways can you explore this situation and different dynamics? So it's having that creative mind and different ways of thinking. If we try to help every student to walk into one direction only, that is quite narrow-minded. So therefore, we're helping every student to think in different directions. And that's how our creative curriculum comes in. Okay? So let's continue with love for learning. So we also applied evidence-based practices. So like the Rosenshine principle is well known worldly. And we use that to really kind of review. We use the spaced learning recap strategies. We use questioning using Bloom's taxonomy, the pyramid, to tease out the knowledge. Then we also use sequencing concepts modeling, i.e. we break it down, which is why I said earlier, we challenge students, but we need to build the building blocks along the way to get them to that challenge. So therefore, we use the sequencing concepts modeling with our teachers so that they're able to put in those building blocks along the way. Okay? And we also stages of practice. Now, our brain, neurosciences behind our brain is only through practice it become longer and become embedded in your brain. So therefore, we get students to try different type of questions, to explore different type of techniques. So therefore, they engage their hand, they engage their brain, and then it sticks in their mind. So it becomes a habit, not just a surface knowledge. So it becomes a real habit. So this is what we use. And we really do value reading and communicating. That is the beauty of a language, that they're able to communicate with people. So therefore, our love of different books is essential. We use the creativity ideas, how they create, how they can having that dialogues with each people, with each other, using creative minds through drama, through production, through different performance, through music, through sports. This is all part of learning. So therefore, we're building that wider whole person holistic approach. And collaborative learning is essential. So in terms of working together, two brains is much better than one brain. And therefore, we encourage group works. We encourage people to talk, to discuss, to really think deeper. And also with the 21st century that we're now in, AI is the forefront of our conversations. So we are the school that move forward, we think ahead of the game. So therefore, we want to incorporate how to use AI safely but productively with our students, because it can do lots more. Okay? It can really give students that personalized kind of support when the teacher is not there. For example, at home, if they're struggling with certain concepts, they could use the technology to help them explore the different steps. So therefore, the knowledge can be broken down in a way that is easily manageable by the students. So that is kind of individualized AI platforms that we will explore, and we are exploring ways to help students to really grasp that knowledge. So we are the 21st century school. We are thinking ahead, and we want to embrace the technology rather than pushing it away. So therefore, having the laptops with students, is a starting good tool for students to explore different tools and different softwares. And we are an international school, so therefore global-minded student is what we try to build. The fact that we are all citizens of the world, we are a community, so therefore we want to promote our curriculum to be widely known across different countries, taking different culture, especially Thailand. We value the Thai culture, so therefore, where possible, we will incorporate that culture into our curriculum. Once again, in Thai languages, we learn the Thai culture. Every single student coming through, they learn Thai. And we have communities from different countries. So we make English is the common language in our school that we speak, so we can communicate with each other in a seamless way. So that's why. And that is vitally important for students to be part of this community and to be engaged in this community in the ways that we highly value. We value the kindness, the empathy, respect, because every single student coming through, they may have different aspects, they may have different beliefs, they may have different ways of thinking. We respect that, because every single student is unique. And that's what we believe. We respect every single individual. That individuality that we respect. And therefore, as you know, our core curriculum is vastly widely reach out to Singapore trips, to different trips that we have on Adventure Week. It's part of that global citizenship. It's part of that wider thinking that we try to embed into students' experience and learning journey. Okay, so I mentioned about it already, the fact the growth mindset in action is what we need and what we're looking for from students. Now, growth mindset is well researched. You either see a cup is half empty or half full. It's a very simple illustration. The fact, we want students to become open-minded, the growth mindset, i.e., we want all our learners to embrace constructive feedback, to believe that talent is ever improving. Talent is about improving. Okay? To really believe, learn and grow from failures. I mentioned earlier, mistakes is good, provided we learn from it. And this is the right place to make mistakes in. And focus on the process and not the end result. As I said earlier, it's every single step it takes. Let's focus on the progress it made throughout the journey. And this is what we want every single child through our door to have that characteristic, to have that character. Whereas we try to mitigate, trying to avoid students to can't accept failures or mistakes, or not able to face any sort of failure. That is not good for them. It's part of the learning, part of growing up, it's part of making mistakes. Okay? And not to be shy away from unfamiliar things. Be brave, be courageous, take steps, and avoid challenges. A classic example, being a mathematician and math teacher myself, a classic example I see day out is, I don't like maths, I hate maths. That is the common phrase I hear in lesson. Yes, I get that. Not everybody's cup of tea being a maths subject, okay? However, change the mindset. I don't like it, but I'm going to have a go. Just change the subtle difference, makes a huge difference. I find it hard, but I'm going to try. I don't like it, but I will do it anyway because it's good for my development. It's that positive mindset that we want to instill into our students. And this is what I really need the support from parents, is the fact when your son and daughter say, I can't do it, then that change the language slightly, say, okay, which part can you not do? Can you try this way? Can you explore that method? Can you look at it from different angle? Let's help them having that positive language to help them along that journey of breaking down that challenges, breaking down the barriers of fear, of knowing. It's very human nature that, anything that I don't know, I don't like to touch. Students likewise. So let's help them along the journey to break down those barriers and get them to become successful. So this is what we desire every single student to have. Yes, you're probably going to ask, on all thinking, well, you're going to have some open mindset in certain areas, but not so much in different aspects. Yes, that's absolutely fine. We will not get perfect solutions for every single people, but we aim to push all the fixed mindset into open mindset, into growth mindset. And that is what we want to instill into every single student. Okay, so the rest of it, I just want to give you a quick remind, especially if you are Year 7 and Year 8 parents, you may want to start thinking about IGCSE and A-level. If you are Year 10 and Year 11 parents, you may want to start thinking about A-level itself or university, so on and so forth. So I want to remind everybody what we offer here at Wellington. So Akita Street from Year 7 to 9 is a national curriculum based on a British curriculum. That is the fundamental element of building blocks to help students transition from where they are to what the next key stage. So when it comes to Year 10 and 11, we use Cambridge assessment and also Pearson XSL, these two examples for Year 10 and 11. Then when it comes to Year 12 and 13, we also use the two examples. In addition, we also got the Wellington certified course. We got EDQ, and we also got thinking skills as well. So therefore, these are the subjects every single student study from Year 7. Okay? So the one highlight in Maths, Thai, and Modern Foreign Languages, they have been grouped slightly because of the nature of the subject. Grouped slightly different, okay? Whereas the rest of the subjects, there's no difference because we believe a wider thinking, wider dialogue. So therefore, 3 groups in Year 7, they are very mixed in so therefore, students can have that dialogue from different people, having that community, having that discussion. So when they move to Year 9 and 10, our subject changed slightly. And this is probably what you're thinking. Our sciences split into 3 different disciplines, very bespoke. And then our humanities was split into history and geography because the demand of the curriculum kind of building up to IGCSE. So once again, it's more refined curriculum. When they come to IGCSE, we have core subjects. We have different core subjects: English, language, English literature, maths, and then 3 sciences. And also core non-exam subjects: the games, well-being, and enrichment. These are also essential. The fact that we're building a holistic picture of a student, so not just academic, but a wider aspect as well. The soft skills come with it. And this is the where exciting part comes in. Then we got the blocks of optional subjects for students to choose from. So if your son and daughter in Year 9, soon they will be kind of having discussion in January, discussion about what options would they like to choose. The beauty of our school is the fact we take students' option choices in, and then we build our blocks around students' choices. That is very different to any other schools that they have preset blocks and then you've got to choose. So we're doing the other way around because we are personalize the curriculum to students' needs. So these are the optional choices, and typically we ask students to choose 3 subjects from this list. When they come to A-level, there are a lot more to choose, okay? And typically, we only ask students to choose 3 subjects because they are studying deeper into those subjects. And at this point in time, when you're choosing A-level, can you make sure you have conversation with your son and daughter, the fact what will they like to do beyond A-level? Having that mindset is very important because some subject or some career require certain subjects. So make sure you have that conversation. We got our university counselors, the university guidance, we got head of university admission as well, who can give students that guidance along the way. And every single stage of choosing, support will be provided, and we will share with you as the times go along. So I'm just giving you the overview of what we do curriculum-wise. Okay? So there are lots of different choices for you to choose from. Okay? And along the way, especially when your child is in year 7, they may not have the experience of prep from our junior school. Okay? So therefore, it's a bit of a learning culture, academic culture difference now. The fact that in lower year groups, we're expecting an hour of prep per night. So therefore, we kind of do it in a staggered process, so starting to build up their resilience, their stamina as well. So in year 7, we only separate in English and Maths. Year 8, we introduce science and humanities. Year 9, all subjects. When it comes to year 10, all subjects are being set, but the frequency and the quantity are increased. Okay? When it comes to A-level, it's even more important that we are introducing, typically we will say 3 hours per subject per week, because they're starting deeper. Okay? So this is our guidelines of our prep work. And it's staggered from year 7 all the way through to year 13. And we have 2 main ways of recording prep work. Either students like to record it on planners or Teams. So most teachers will set assignments on Teams. The beauty of Teams is the fact teachers can give live marking, live feedback straight away, so therefore your son and daughter can correct and improve straight away. And there are loads of benefit of using Teams. And I just want to highlight, we are moving into digital world. However, we're still giving students the options of recording on planners if they wish to. So there are 2 ways for you to kind of speak with your child and say, what's your prep work recently? How is it doing? And you can keep a tab on it as well. Okay, now apart from year 7 parents, rest of you would have seen the reports have changed from last year. The year before it was slightly different. So therefore, I'm just quickly remind you what it looks like. The next round of reporting is coming out after half term. So therefore, the reports, typically we have 2 types of written reports. We got interim report and full reports. Full reports is normally towards the end of the year. Interim report is normally throughout the terms. So, all reports, including student reflection comments, we want to give students the responsibility to reflect. One of our values, one of our ways of encouraging them. So we get them to reflect, and what 3 types of data we collect? And they are learning behaviors, current attainment grade or CAG is what is appeared on the report. And student progress, we are color coded of either blue, green, or amber, that means learning behavior grade 1, 2, and 3 is according to the matrix on top. If they have achieved all above and beyond is 1, most will be 2, and then some will be most likely 3. So this is the learning behavior. Obviously, we're aiming for areas to be 1. And current attainment grades, they are either letters or numbers depending. Okay, so for Key Stage 3, it will be all letters. Okay, letter band and sub-levels. For example, A1, A2, A3, and so on and so forth. Okay, when it comes to progress, it's either green, blue, or kind of a yellow under each color. So therefore, it helps you indicate where your child's progressing along the journey. And this is a typical example of our report. It's what it looks like with the subject, initial teachers, and the current attainment grade as CAG, and the learning behavior and the progress. That gives you a very clear snapshot of different. By the way, that's the real report. I just taken the names out. Okay, so this is what we see a lot of cases in our reports. And this is the IGCSE. The only difference is we mix with the numbers and letters because different exam board. Okay? And finally, if I can conclude, just bring to your attention some of the key dates for Michaelmas term that you may wish to attend. So we got coming up, we got information evening for IGCSE and A-level mock preparation. We got the actually 11 and 13 mocks. Actually, I should say that year 13 and 11 13. We got reports due to publish to yourself on 18th of November for year 7 to 10 and 12. Year 11 13 is slightly later because we want to incorporate the mock results within. So therefore, it needs time to turn that around. So therefore, it's slightly later. And that's why year 11 13 reports published. In between, we got year 12 parent-teacher conference and year 11 parent-teacher conference as well. And very, very importantly, especially if your son and daughter in year 9 or year 11, then the IGCSE and A-level option fair is vitally important for you to attend to go and explore different subjects that are on offer, to go and discuss with expertise, so therefore you can make informed decisions. Okay, so that is my quick run through of our academic culture at Wellington, and thank you very much for listening, and thank you very much for coming. I will be available to answer any questions that you may have. Later, I will be just up the front. Feel free to come and speak with me. And yes, thank you. Have a